Nintendo, we were on the verge of greatness, but you just had to mess everything up. So the Switch 2 Direct came in with, and oh boy, did Nintendo throw a lot at us. Now, I wanted to wait a bit before making this video so I could gather my thoughts and see what other people had to say about it. Plus, Nintendo did say they were going to tell us more about the Switch 2 after the Direct, but I don't think anyone expected what would come next. Now, before we talk about the overpriced elephant in the room, I want to talk about the Direct because there was a lot to unpack. And let me say this, I love how Nintendo came swinging with a bunch of games. Most of them third parties, but they were a lot. Now, for the sake of time, I'm not gonna talk about them all, only the ones that interest me. Starting with Silksong and Deltarune, which have been MIA for quite a while, so I'm glad we're getting those in the Direct. I played Undertale and Hollow Knight in college, and I'll live stream them when we're closer to those two releasing, which I think is gonna be pretty fun. However, the highlight of this entire Direct has got to go to Mario Kart World. If you tuned into my live stream, you could tell how excited I was when they showed this game off. There were so many new features such as knockout mode, different outfits, and even grinding in this game. However, out of all the modes, I'm looking forward to Free Roam the most. I got a feeling me and my friends are gonna have a lot of fun in this mode, going around the map, joking around, and seeing what an open world Mario Kart game has to offer. Now, one thing I have to applaud Nintendo for is embracing the multiplayer aspect, cause let's be real, it's been their weak point for quite a while. But with the Switch 2, it feels like they're really trying with you being able to share digital games, GameShare, which is DS Download, a feature that I am glad is returning, as well as Discord, which is like a decade late. But hey, I'll get the props for finally doing it. And not to mention, it's gonna be free for a year, which is great. Although I do hope they fix the performance when you share your screen, cause oh boy, is it atrocious. Like I said, they showed off a lot of great things during this Direct, which makes the duds here all the more apparent. Case in point, Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, which is a paid tech demo. Like, seriously Nintendo? Why can't you guys make a good tech demo anymore? With all the faults the Wii U and PS5 had, they had great tech demos. Like, seriously, go check out Nintendo Land. That game is phenomenal. Unlike this one, which looks so bland and so uninspired, which is the same issue I have with their other tech demo, Dragon's Drive. Jeez, that FPS. Its biggest issue is that it isn't free. If it was, I'd check it out maybe once or twice. But since again, it's paid, I have no reason to check it out. On a side note, what's up with Nintendo and sidelining Mii's? It was an ongoing trend during the Switch, and it looks like it's continuing here. I'm telling you, if you add in the Mii's, these games will at least have some type of personality. Cause between these two games and Mario Kart World, why on earth would you play these two? At worst, I see these games being a top 10 worst games of 2025 list and never being spoken of again. Alright, now let's talk about the upgrade packs. Now, upgrading a game isn't something new, and it's something Xbox and PlayStation started doing since last generation, but when Nintendo said they were charging you for these upgrades, whereas those two did for free, had me raise an eyebrow. And looking back, was a sign of things to come. Luckily, we are getting new content for some of these games, which is good. I loved Kirby and the Forgotten World, so the fact that there's more to do in that game is a huge thumbs up from me. And hopefully this means a certain Purple Plumber will finally get to be in Smash. Now, I'm gonna talk about this later on, but on the bright side, it got leaked that if you have a Nintendo Online subscription, you can get these upgrades for free. Thank you, Austin John Plays, for sharing this. And with even more good news, fans can rejoice learning that GameCube games are coming to the Switch too. This is something fans have been begging for quite a while, and it's great that you can play these games officially. And the fact that they're releasing a GameCube controller for this is just a cherry on top. Although that does mean Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD ports are very unlikely. Rest in peace. Now hopefully they can do something about the DS game soon. It was also revealed that Metroid Prime 4 and Legend of Zelda were going to be dual releases, which was kind of expected if the Switch 2 is going to be out before the holidays. Speaking of, I'm surprised that the Switch 2 is releasing so soon. I know it was leaked a while back along with the specs, but I wasn't really paying attention since it had a lot going on at the time. Speaking of specs, Nintendo has finally caught up to modern technology. It now supports 4K and can go up to 120 FPS. It looks like they even made the Joy-Cons better. I know they aren't the best controllers to use, so I'm glad they're improving them. It can even be used as a mouse, which hopefully means we'll get more PC games ported. Hopefully they also fix the Joy-Con drift issue, since that was a major problem with the original Switch. Like seriously, what's the point of making a new Joy-Con model if you hadn't fixed a problem with the original? And to top it all off, Nintendo announced 2 more games, Kirby Air Ride and Donkey Kong Bonanza. And look, I truly believe Air Ride is going to be a great game, especially with Sakurai behind it. But man, is Mario Kart gonna murder this thing. Like, seriously, why on earth would you release 2 racing games so close to each other? Especially since one of them is the launch game for your system and is called Mario Kart. If this game released next year, then yeah, it would have done well. But considering it's so close to Mario Kart, I don't think it's gonna do well. On the other hand, Donkey Kong Bonanza looks great. I love how destructible everything is, and it is going to be so much fun destroying everything. Although, I'm not a big fan of the new Donkey Kong model. Maybe it'll grow on me after playing it? Only time will tell with this one. Overall, the Switch 2 Direct was a success. Yeah, there were a few stickers here and there, but overall, it did a tremendous job of hyping everyone up for the Switch 2. After the Direct, Nintendo announced that they were taking measures to prevent scalpers, which, thank God, since we can all agree that the worst part of the last generation of consoles was getting your hands on one. At this point, Nintendo had the gaming industry in the palm of their hands, but leave it to them to grab defeat from the jaws of victory by doing this. Oh boy, where do I begin? $80 for a game is ridiculous, especially when you consider how expensive everything has gotten in the past 5 years. Especially when you consider games have already had a price increase, so for there to be another one so soon feels very anti-consumer. In order for that to be justified, that game has to be one of the best games ever made, which I don't see happening most of the time. Especially when you consider that physical games are now more expensive, which is just another jab at physical media. I prefer physical media, especially in this day and age when you don't own the stuff you buy digitally, since they could be taken off the market with no prior warning. After all, why do you think the phrase, if buying isn't owning, then pirating isn't stealing, is so popular? I like knowing that no matter what Nintendo or these game companies can do, it doesn't change the fact that I own these games. Especially when it looks like more and more cartridges are just gonna be download keys, which is another jab at physical media. And make no mistake, since game prices are gonna increase, that means other things like DLC is also going to increase. We already see it with Joy-Cons costing $90! Not to mention, other companies are gonna follow suit. There are already rumors of GTA 6 being $100, and that is looking more plausible thanks to this. All this does is turn people off from AAA gaming and have them go to indie titles instead. They're cheaper and have been saving the gaming industry these past couple of years. So instead of buying an $80 game that will more than likely have DLC and be well over $100 once all is said and done, or buy an upgrade pack that will cost $20 at most, which is ridiculous, why not buy a couple of indie or older games that will be cheaper on Steam? Hell, I know some people that can't buy a Switch 2. It's not that they don't want it, it's that they can't afford it. Some former PR managers from Nintendo have recently talked about how scummy this is, and how the backlash that ensued must be a nightmare for Nintendo, especially with the tariffs in the US. Speaking of, because of the tariffs, Nintendo had to delay pre-orders and reevaluate their plans for the Switch 2. And if that price increases because of them, even more people will not be able to afford one. I was already debating on if I could even afford a Switch 2. But if that price increases any further, then I am definitely not getting one. I know some people are hoping for a 3DS situation to happen where Nintendo lowers the price. And while I do see that happening, I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't. The Switch is one of the best-selling systems of all time, with it being 4 million behind the DS and 10 million behind the PS2. The gaming industry was way different when the 3DS was released. You had other options back then. Whereas to now, with Xbox and Sony not doing well, you only have 2 options. Either A, buy a Nintendo Switch 2, or B, invest thousands of dollars into a gaming PC, something in which not everyone can afford. I'm sorry if I sound like a Debbie Downer, but I'm just calling it as I see it. Hopefully for our sakes and theirs, Nintendo lowers the prices, and no one thinks about raising them in the near future. But hey, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours down below. I'm curious of what you guys think. By the way, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. It only takes a few seconds, and it really helps the channel out. Anyways, that's all from me, and I will see you guys later.